Here is Danny, and today someone asked me yesterday how I made the cinematics in my Angel Does It Again video, since there is no spectator mode in the game. So I'm like, sure, I can do a tutorial on it, and look where we are right now. The tutorial works on both PC and console, but it is far easier for PC players for a few reasons. There's also a few different ways to do it as well, all with their own pros and cons. So let's find out how you can do it. On PC you can easily turn off the UI by going into the console by pressing the tilt button, which is usually near the escape key or near the 1. It looks a little bit like a wave or something. I put the logo on screen. Then type in UI.drawEnable 0. And to turn it back on, switch the 0 to a 1. After you have typed it once in your session, you can use the arrow keys to quickly get the text up again. Often it will even autofill after the UI.draw part, making it really quick to switch, and of course you can automate this too by using macros. For consoles and people who don't want to use the PC's built-in console, you can also go into settings, then go to display, HUD general, and then show HUD, and then turn it off. Okay, now to remove the gun. I made a macro to let my gun switch constantly, so it automatically presses 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, etc. This will remove the gun from your view. You can also do this manually, of course, by pressing the buttons you use to switch guns. On consoles you have to always do this manually by pressing either the triangle or the I button on the Xbox. But it gets tiresome after some time, and that is why I automated it. Also makes it so you can actually look around and do other stuff in the meantime, and even use the controller while it still detects your PC input. To zoom in, turn the field of view down to 50. Don't forget to put it back up when you want to play the game again. I tried changing it to 10 via the config, but it didn't do much. It seems like it is sadly kept on 50. This method is great for crowd based stuff like looking at soldiers. For the cons, there's only 3 heights to use, which is prone, crouch and standing, unless you get onto some height of course. And you also have the constant weapon switch audio, which can quite annoying and ruin shots. There's also a second method. You can also go into the Battlefield 3 map or Casper's drone. I prefer the MAV since it has no thick net on the side and it doesn't have the stupid pulse from Casper's specialization. This is great for aerial based shots like me chasing this hovercraft. However, it has a really ugly teal filter, which you can technically fix in post or with the Ansel filter, but it is far from perfect. I am not a colorist either, but adding more orange to the scene and changing the highlights a little bit could give you a slightly more natural look. Another negative is the damn audio all the time, making the audio from the shots basically useless sadly. From there you can just fly around, zoom in and do other stuff. Then for the depth of field, this is PC and Nvidia only though. There is a tool called Ansel, which in single player games also gives access to a free cam, but in Battlefield 2042 it has access to different filters, which includes depth of field. While it is definitely not as good as native depth of field, like HattyWatty's cinematic tool, it still uses some of the game render data like the Z-buffer to find out where the items are located and what to blur and what not to blur. Play around with the settings to find out what looks good for the scene you have in your head. And like I mentioned before, if you don't want to go through editing the scene in your favorite editor, you can also add some color correction directly into the game via this. To enable it, the default keys are Alt F3. And those are all the basics you need to know to get some semi-cinematic shots in a game that does not have a spectator mode. If you have some other creative ways, let me know in the comments, but hey, dat is alle wat voor now. Subscribe for more. This was Danny and I see you on the battlefield.